The perfect spouse. Well, I'm sorry to bust your bubble, but that's not a thing. There is no such thing as a perfect spouse. I'm not one. My husband is not one. We cannot find any couple anywhere who has got the perfect spouse because none of us have got it all figured out. What we do need to realize, though, is that we can get better. So, by implementing a lot of these strategies that we share with you, you can work toward being a better spouse. And by being a better spouse and continuing to practice and implement the strategies that we share, your marriage will grow and develop. And then you can learn to appreciate that diamond in the rough that you have. I love the idea that a diamond in the rough is perfectly imperfect. We don't look for a diamond that does not have its own set of shapes and value to it. It's unique, and so the idea of being perfectly imperfect, I think, is a phenomenal one that we can embrace for our marriage.
It's a great point. One of the reasons that there's no such thing as a perfect spouse is because we're all changing. We're changing. We're growing, and so rather than focus on the idea of a perfect spouse, what you want to focus on is progress and not perfection. And so I know as a
Mm,
basketball coach, one of the things that we often tell our players sometimes is practice makes perfect. And that idea really is about being intentional about doing the things that you need to do to improve, whether it's your shot or, for me as a basketball coach, your handle. And so, in the same way, in a marriage, practice makes perfect is the idea of you got to be intentional about doing the things that you need to do as a spouse that's going to improve you as a spouse. That's the one thing that you can control. So, what can you do? What are some of the things that you can be intentional about working on and developing and growing in different areas that will make you a better spouse? How can you practice and work on getting better?
I love that what you just said about uh, focusing on and working toward progress, not perfection. Because honestly, perfection is a bar that's just too high. And
Hmm.
when we feel like we can't reach it, sometimes we start to give up. It's very disheartening when you feel like I can't get there. And so why continue this? It's not really worth it because I
Right.
can't ever get there.
Hmm.
Um, I know that as an instructional coach and school administrator, I have seen so many teachers and had an opportunity to work with so many teachers that some that are on all kinds of levels. Some are just starting, whereas others have been teaching for years and years, even longer than me. But one commonality that we can really look at is that essentially that same idea of progress is what's so important. We want to consistently implement the strategies that will make us better because at the end of the day, that's how I, as a teacher, have an impact on my classroom and on my students is by becoming a better teacher. And I become a better teacher by implementing those strategies more consistently. So the same thing can happen in my family, in my home, in my relationship. That I'm not going to work toward being this amazing person who has no flaws and who's got it all figured out. Um, we can relate to that feels like this bar that you just simply can't reach. But when you work toward just getting better, that can be reached. That we can do. We can work toward having that good positive impact.
Yeah, that's a great point. So again, the bar shouldn't be perfection. The bar should be just getting better yourself.
Hmm.
If you are new to marriage, your goal shouldn't be to be the perfect spouse. It should be to be a better spouse tomorrow than you were today,
That's great.
or a better spouse next week than we are this week. And so again, we can be intentional about that. And there are a lot of resources and tools and ways that you can take advantage of to help you grow. This is one of those tools, a resource just to encourage you and your marriage and help you to grow and build stronger marriages. But again, the goal is practice, the goal is progress. That's the goal. And try to do it better tomorrow than you were today.